goes live in 2 minutes. Lynn Cullen live in 1 minute. Welcome to Lynn Cullen Live at pghcitypaper.com. Email your questions and comments to Lynn at pghcitypaper.com.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the show. It's the 19th of the 6th month of the year of our Lord, so some people say, 2012. The year of my Lord, it's something like 5,700 and I've lost count. My sister Susan joins us from Green Bay. Hi. Susan.
Hi. Do you know, I am straining to hear you.
Damn it. Okay, so this is never, well, we'll try. Are you still straining?
Yeah.
Uh-oh. I mean, so bad that you can't do it?
No, you're a little better.
Better?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. Can I talk normally and you can still hear me?
It's better if you talk louder.
Okay. Damn it. How'd that come through?
I don't know.
How about now? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, let's just stop this and move on. If at any point you lose contact, let me know.
Well, let me just say to you that it goes right along with my morning when I awoke at my usual too early 5:30 and grabbed my handy iPad to start reading, all the various things that I read, and there's no connection.
Oh, my God.
So I run downstairs and I unplug the modem and I reboot the modem, and that doesn't work. So, Mom has this UVerse system. I'd like to say this is the AT&T UVerse system, that wonderful thing by which your television and your internet and your telephone are all bundled together.
Yes, I'm bundled too.
Yes, well, not working. So I go down to the gateway modem and I reboot that. Nothing. And I double check to make sure that Mom doesn't have anything either sneaking into her room, where I will assure you, was claiming that she was not asleep. But she was.
She was.
Anyway, so I called them this morning. Nothing's working, but it took me an hour and a half for them to admit that nothing was working. So if the phone isn't working as well, I'm not surprised.
Well, but we've been having our troubles here too. So, but the phone is working. If that's bundled, the phone is part of the bundle.
Yeah, the phone is working, but there's no Ethernet and there's no television.
Oh my God, you must be. Do you have like delirium tremens or?
No, because I convinced my other devices that 3G was as good as they were going to get. And 4 hours later, I had the New York Times downloaded, and I haven't had time to look at them, of course.
Okay, well, that's okay. Enough of your problems.
Well, we do know that I came of age at a time that I became addicted to media.
Yeah, but you were the only one of the children in the house that was addicted to television. Bill and I absolutely never were, and still ain't. And I can't. You were the first person I knew who couldn't do your homework if there wasn't a TV on. I, on the other hand, can't focus on anything if the TV's on. But so you're...
Yes, I was of the first generation that found it more comfortable to concentrate against something.
But now that's how everybody
Now
is.
I like my silence.
Well, I'm glad you got back to that, because I look at young people now, and I don't think they're capable of it. They're plugged in. They've got, they can't do their homework unless there's a TV on, a computer on, an iPod on, an iPad on, a this and a that on, and there's 20 sources of it. Well, let's not even talk about it again. Susan.
Yeah.
Okay, trying to think what to talk about here. So if you haven't seen any papers or anything, have you seen any pictures of Obama meeting with Vladimir Putin in Mexico?
Yeah, I did.
I mean, Ray Charles could read the body language. They're leaning away from each other. Their faces are there's hardly, you can see they're avoiding each other's eyes. It's amazing. I've never seen anything so funny.
Well, yes.
And apparently the White House was freaked out. They didn't realize that it was that obvious. It was that obvious. So I think they're making more of an effort to make things look a little...
To be aware of their body language?
Yeah, wow. It was, anyone who thinks that body language is not a right out there indicator needs to look at the pictures, the photo.
Well, Putin didn't look any more comfortable than Obama did.
Oh, Putin never looks comfortable. Putin always looks like a sourpuss.
But he looks cocky in his uncomfortableness, and I didn't necessarily see that.
Yeah, well, whatever. Often when your body language is giving you away, you are totally unaware, right?
Right.
I'm sure both men knew, just for their own political reasons, that they did not want to look happy and overly friendly, because frankly the countries ain't getting along right now, and we're on different sides on all kinds of issues, and so they couldn't be happy. But wow, it's just, it looked like if they were in a marriage. This was like a bad marriage in a counselor's office, about to everything about to just explode. Very funny stuff. So, what did you think of? I haven't talked about this, but I was just so sickened, angered, fed up. The reporter who, in the middle of a speech by Obama, interrupts him with this sort of hostile question. Well, what are you saying? In the middle of a speech. Never, I have to tell you, in my entire life, never saw such a thing. It's exactly like the guy screaming, "You lie," in the State of the Union address.
Right. Excuse me. I can't believe that the people around him didn't just say, "Shut up."
Right. Or punch him, or
have him taken immediately out.
Tell that guy to be escorted out. This level of absolute flouting of all the rules of respect that is expected to be paid to any president of the United States. When it comes to Barack Obama, there are some who just can't do it. And why would that be? Even Fox News jumped on him? Yeah, I bet they did.
Well, it's just,
trying to disassociate themselves.
Yeah, there has to be some, we used to say you must respect at least the office.
Yeah, right. Well, this is where, they have been so successful in making him into somebody who is in fact a pretender, somebody who isn't even an American, that he is illegitimate. So I guess then you don't have to. But there is no doubt. It's because he's a black man. It's because he's a black man. Give me one other possible reason that makes him different than every other president we've ever seen who's never been treated like that, with that measure of disrespect. Can anyone come up with anything other than that? It's as clear as the body language between Putin and Obama. Dear Lord.
Yeah, no, it's really,
And listen to this. Where did I see this today? Oh. The governor of West Virginia, he's a Democrat. The senator from West Virginia, Democrat, used to be the governor, Joe Manchin, who then took over when Robert Byrd finally keeled over at the age of 170. The governor of West Virginia, Senator Manchin from West Virginia, and Congressman from West Virginia, all three have announced they will not be attending the Democratic National Committee, National Convention.
Convention.
Whose sole purpose, of course, is to formally renominate Barack Obama. West Virginia.
Why is it inappropriate to just point out that it's racism? Why is anybody keeping their mouth shut?
It's not inappropriate. Let me tell you about West Virginia. West Virginia, had their primary a few months ago. Do you recall? West Virginia, there was actually somebody put on the ballot in opposition to Barack Obama. They had a Democratic primary, and Obama had somebody running against him. That somebody, Susan, was a convicted felon who was still in jail somewhere, I think, in Texas.
I know this, yes.
And he received over 40% of the Democratic vote. But he was white. So I read somewhere, and I wish I'd cut it out. It was very, data-driven and very, all this stuff that sort of makes your head start to spin. But someone finally, everybody said, everybody was saying you can't really quantify how much racism figures into a person's vote. It's really hard to do, to decide, the reason he didn't get those votes or as many as so-and-so then is because, he's black and these people ain't going to vote for him. But some guy did come up with a way of doing it. And he took it almost county by county and looked at voting patterns and how the people had voted for every Democrat in elections, for the last 40 years or something. And everything just sort of plays out in a pretty regular kind of a way. And then you hit Obama. You hit 2008. And there are places in this country that have been solid Democratic votes that just went to bottom, dropped out of them. And there's nothing to explain it other than racism. Nothing. Where was this most apparent? West Virginia. Of every state in the Union, West Virginia looked to be the most racially, freaked out about Obama. Guess what other region was right along with him? Southwestern Pennsylvania, home of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And the reason being is that we're just an extension of West Virginia. We don't like to acknowledge this, but we're Appalachia here. And anyone here will tell you, remember that, who was it, Rendell who made the remark? Who made the remark about, the folks in Western Pennsylvania ain't going to be voting for Obama because they're a bunch of racists? Remember that statement that was made? And all hell broke loose. How dare you say such a thing? Oh, because you can't say it. But the numbers showed Southwestern Pennsylvania and West Virginia more than any other region. I hope I'm remembering this right. I mean, I know I'm remembering that part right.
Well, and I'm sure you could throw in a large portion of Missouri.
Probably, yeah.
Well, it simply reflects the reality of the Civil War.
Right, but the thing is that, of course you would think, Mississippi, Alabama, they of course, but no, their former voting patterns, they weren't voting for John Kerry, they weren't voting for Al Gore, but West Virginia would vote for an Al Gore. More so, much more so. It's the bottom dropped out of their willingness to vote, their party affiliation, when a black man was running.
Right.
So, I cannot believe this. So, Manchin and the governor, Manchin, it's beyond belief. Unbelievable. Only Jay Rockefeller, who's a senator from West Virginia, will attend the Democratic convention. Obama couldn't. I'm sure Obama will never step foot in West Virginia. What a waste of. There would be no reason to.
Well. It's hard not to be scared about what's going to happen. He really needs to get his base motivated, and his base has been, just so lackluster. It's amazing to me.
Yeah,
it's the same thing as in Wisconsin. Mm-hmm. Where's all that energy, and why do you think you only have to vote once?
I don't know. Here's what Manchin said. See if you even understand this remark. This fall, I will remain focused on bringing people together for the next generation, not the next election. What does that mean? What the hell does that mean?
That means we'll skip this one. Or maybe it means it's not just about one election. It's about a generation's worth. It's about all of them.
He's a black guy. Unbelievable. Just so unbelievably depressing. So, let's move on to another depressing topic, but one that has such a funny aspect to it that it'll lift our spirits somewhat. Let me just say this, Susan. Vagina.
Ugh. And, the joke is, I know exactly where we're going. We're going to a woman state legislator that had the gall to say that word and be reprimanded for it on the state floor of the legislature.
Not only reprimanded, literally shunned, shut up, and I guess unable to return to the floor the next day, as well as another woman legislator who was they were voting on some unbelievably ridiculous abortion bill. And the other woman had put in an amendment saying, okay, well, I move that that any man who wants to have a vasectomy has to prove that his life is in danger if he doesn't get it. Because after all, if he has a vasectomy, that is taking a potential life away. And she got thrown out. So I understand there was a reading of the vagina monologues on.
Yeah, she was asked to. She on the I think on the steps of the
Capitol.
legislature.
Right. So if you cannot say you're talking about women's bodies, these Republican men are constantly talking about women's bodies, and then a woman gets up and says, the fact that you're so interested in my vagina, and they freak. She has said a dirty word. What is the mindset that the absolute proper term for a part of the woman's anatomy is a dirty word? Name another part of the woman's anatomy, of any human anatomy, that uttered on the floor of the Michigan legislature would have caused that. Maybe
they might have had problems with nipple or something.
And maybe penis. Because anything having to do with that which they somehow can't deal with, namely sexuality, makes them go insane. Jess had you retweeted a good tweet this morning about this, about small government. Oh. And it was what? I mean, and it's just classic. These are the same guys who want to make government so small they can drown it in a bathtub. And the tweet is,
if you consider mandatory
transvaginal ultrasound an example of small government, you're definitely a dude. You're definitely a Republican. Yeah. Dude. They want small government, but they get obsessed by wanting government involved in They're the ones who are constantly bringing the vagina onto the legislative floor.
Oh, they just want dominance and control. They don't want to speak that they want dominance and control. They're just asserting it. Back the way the Lord intended.
That is correct. But the reality here is, I got to give a speech to the Pennsylvania Democratic Women's State Convention in a few weeks.
Well, it's time to get them riled up.
But it's like, and I mean, I'll be preaching to the choir there, but my God.
I think there's a lot of Republican women that agree with them, that agree with us.
Well, they're very quiet.
I think there's a lot of Republican men too. Because I'm hearing from them.
Well, there's too quiet for me. And I'll tell you who else is too quiet. Young women.
I don't,
They're the ones who are going to end up in the back alley. They're the ones who are going to be reintroduced to abortion with a coat hanger. They're the ones who are going to have unintended pregnancies, perhaps unintended families, perhaps, who the heck, where are they? Somebody was pointing...
I don't think that they understand how little time ago it was.
Yeah, well, but if they're paying any attention now, they should be able to see what's going on and what direction it's heading in. And if they cannot believe such a thing is possible, then they need to talk to their mothers. It's wow. And I'm disappointed in young people right now again. They came out, in 2004, and then they disappeared. 2008, and then they disappeared. They sure as hell disappeared in 2010. I think they were a little disappointed because Obama didn't do everything immediately like he said. Well,
I'm just going to go back to my long-held belief that that course that we all slept through and found boring when we were kids needs to be reintroduced, and it's called civics.
Yeah.
Because people plain old don't get how the government works and why it works that way and what it means if we tamper with it through, like through term limits and stuff like that. They don't know, to quote, our very favorite of all people, they don't know what they don't know.
Who said that?
Who said that was our Secretary of Defense under Bush, whose name I'm blanking on at the moment.
Rumsfeld.
Rumsfeld, right.
Dumsfeld. Yeah. Okay, well, let's take a break, and we'll try to think of something more, I don't know, uplifting.
Well, let me just tell you that Mother started taking her exercise just as we started talking.
She's
and
swimming.
If you want a real-time example, she's still going.
So she's been swimming for 24 minutes.
Yeah.
Back and forth. Yeah. I don't know how. I see so bored. So bored. She must get into some kind of like a Zen-like state.
She's meditating.
Yeah. Because, okay. Well, let us know when she completes her.
Yeah, I just want everybody to have a real-time notion.
Okay, so, our mother, who turns 90 in August, has been swimming the entire time we've been talking. And she doesn't stop. It's just this relentless...
and she's swimming the crawl at a, steady...
At a steady pace.
Right.
Yeah. Although I think she should kick her, but neither mom nor dad ever kick their feet
she doesn't
enough.
kick very much.
It's all arm. Mm-hmm. She's upper body strength. Okay.
All right, take your break.
We'll take... Yes, as we sit here on our duffs, I'll take a break.
More is on the way with Lynn Cullen Live.
The Town and Country Tour features 15 gardens in Squirrel Hill and Shadyside all day long on Sunday, June 24th. See these wonderful gardens, talk with experts at each stop, and support the Pittsburgh Botanic Garden, coming to life near Settlers Cabin Park. Order tickets by calling 412-444-4464 or go to their website at www.pittsburghbotanicgarden.org.
You in the City and Hosanna House Summer Nights present Jazz Under the Stars, starring Najee, Friday, July 13th. 8 p.m. at the Sherwood Event Center in Wilkinsburg. Tickets available at Dorsey's, Stediford's, or charge by phone at 1-800-383-5760. Najee, live in concert July 13th. Proceeds benefit Hosanna House, a place called Hope.
Vote now. Who will be the chosen one in Pittsburgh City Paper's annual Best of Readers poll and register to win a new iPad. Pittsburgh City Paper, available at over 1,700 locations throughout Western Pennsylvania and on the web at pghcitypaper.com and on your smartphone at citypapermobile.com.
Gustavo and Vella wants to thank all of southwestern Pennsylvania, the USA, and the world for helping to liberate his native country of Equatorial Guinea. Equatorial Guinea has suffered 43 years of dictatorship, 43 years of human rights abuses, 43 years of corruption, and 43 years of kleptocracy. Even with $5 billion in oil revenue in 2011, the 700,000 citizens of Equatorial Guinea earn less than $2 per day. A proud Mount Lebanon resident, please help Gustavo and Vella usher in the 21st century by allowing freedom, democracy, and socioeconomic prosperity by the rule of law for the next 43 years and beyond. Email him at presidentandvella@yahoo.com to help free Equatorial Guinea.
Now, it's back to Lynn Cullen Live at pghcitypaper.com.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, Suze. So, did you happen to see that fascinating piece maybe last week, maybe Wall Street Journal, maybe New York Times, I don't know, about I think they call it the microbiome? The number
just
of bacteria
in passing, but yes.
Yeah. Okay. So I sort of glossed over it, and Tom Sokolowski was in, and he said, "Look at this." So I did look a little more closely, and it's just mind blowing. You got to figure that as much as 6 pounds of your body weight is microbes.
Right.
Is bacteria.
Right.
If you were to like take a million maybe that's a good diet, the antibiotic diet.
No, because you need them.
Of course, you need many of them. So this also brings up the question of when you take an antibiotic, this is another reason that's not a good thing to do, that's a last gasp measure always, because an antibiotic is like spraying pesticides on a garden. Yeah, it'll kill the weeds, but it's going to kill everything else too. Because an antibiotic goes after all of them. Which is another reason, women who sometimes, you develop infections when you have it, right? When you have an antibiotic, because it wipes out all the good things in our, vaginas and stuff. You can get yeast infections or something like that. I don't know what. Something. There's not only bacteria in there, much of which is good stuff, not all, but there's viruses that live in us, and there's fungi that live in us. We are our own just extraordinary biosphere. There are, we can't see them, but right on the surface of our skin, there are little critters that help keep our skin more elastic that are gobbling up secretions that come out. And, we don't have a clue. And what's amazing is that finally we're going to get somewhat of a clue, because they are going to start getting to know literally there's over 100 trillion different bacteria that call human beings home. And the possibilities for medicine is just mind-boggling with this. Right.
It finally occurred to them to use these things.
Yeah, right. So they said it's going to open up an entire new field of essentially medical ecology. So, as regards antibiotics, rather than conducting like this indiscriminate slaughter, which is what you do every time you take an antibiotic, scientists want to be able to get to where they're managing the stuff. We don't know how to do that yet. Whoa! Hello.
Good morning, ladies.
Hi.
Hey, you're bringing up a really neat topic, something that I just heard recently.
Yeah.
Your appendix.
Yep.
Legend has it, or, the general thing is your appendix is a useless leftover from some earlier pre-evolutionary whatever.
Right.
Wrong.
Bullshit.
Yeah.
They think they know what it is now.
What?
Like you said, especially your large intestine is chock full of all those bacteria.
Right.
Which is crucial. You've got to have that in you, or you are going to die. And in certain cases of like typhus or dysentery or something like that, bad diarrhea, all that can get flushed out to the point where you don't have enough to absorb to do what they're there to do. So there you've got your appendix at the very beginning of your large colon, which is like a little reservoir of all this bacteria that's off to the side, so when everything gets flushed out, that's still cool, that's still full.
Huh.
And it's like seed bacteria. When the rest of your colon, when it's all gone, this gets like squirted in there and reseeds all that bacteria back inside your gut, which then thrives and grows and keeps you healthy and keeps you from dying.
Wow. So it was like the National Guard if the regular, troops get depleted.
Yeah, you know what? I can't hear you at all.
Ah!
No, I know that whenever you call, the volume coming in is very, very, very low. I can just barely make out that there's any sound coming through at all.
All right.
And watching you online, there's a little bit of a delay. But anyway, just wanted to tell you that. They found out, or they think they know now, why we have appendixes, which has been a mystery for years and years and years, and that's what it seems to be, a little reservoir of all that bacteria. In case anything happens, we have a backup. It's like your seed corn.
Fantastic.
All right, I'm going to let you go because I can't hear anything.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Okay, we're right.
Yeah, I can't. You've gone away. I can't hear you either.
Susan can't hear me either.
Oh, now I can hear you.
You know what? I'm getting very annoyed.
Now you're just fine.
Yeah, I'm just fine. I'm about to explode. This is exactly the kind of crap when we started the show 3 years ago that we were dealing with. It took us, I cannot tell you how long, to get worked out. And now we're right back. Damn it! Okay, excuse me. I will get myself under control. So, the neat thing is, Susan, you might have like 100 million different species of bugs right now in your mouth alone.
Right. Now, wait a minute. I just have to interrupt for accuracy's sake to say that the swim has ended.
Well, I figured, didn't I tell you? I told Jess. I said, okay, it usually takes her 35 minutes, so that's it. That's it. So she does it in 35 minutes. Wow.
Okay, go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt that.
No, okay. She's right on schedule. So the all these different things you've got in your mouth might be totally different than what I've got in mine. So it's not like, oh, that's one of those mouth bacteria. We all have these very individualized
and some of them are really bad. Then you don't want to have those, and those are the ones that cause, for example, gingivitis.
Yeah, right, sure. But
gingivitis.
But so you might have a lot of one thing in your mouth, and I might have none of it. Somebody might. So we all have these it makes us very individualistic about our own our own biosphere. It's not like all humans are the same. So if you have all these different species, and once doctors will be able to figure out and identify and see that you've got too few of these and too many of those, and then you pinpoint how you want to rejigger it, if in fact we can, you can see how this could be unbelievably beneficial. So, here's something that'll creep you out. One way to restore somebody's microbiome maybe then to foster selective bacteria, right, to grow or not to grow. And what they're already working with is that you might want to add, say I have a deficiency in some kind of bacteria. You would then, why not, just give me some. Add that bacteria. That's called probiotics. We hear that word?
That's the point, for example, of yogurt with live cultures.
Right. That's what probiotics, that's a science. I never realized that. And the science of probiotics is lagging way, way behind. People really don't know how to use bacteria in a positive way. We're really primitive about this. But here's something interesting that's going on with this. A growing number of doctors are treating a lack of a certain kind of important bacteria in your gut. They're treating it with, sit down, it's a kind of transplant, but sit down. They're treating it with fecal transplants. How
can you transplant poop?
Well, apparently rather easily. Poop from a healthy donor. Poop
I got it.
is delivered
because it contains the appropriate
right. So
bacteria.
Poop from a healthy donor is literally delivered to the person who doesn't have enough of it in a suppository. It's working. Studies are showing this is working. They've done, University of Alberta, they did 124 fecal transplants. Said it's safe, it's effective. 83% of patients experienced immediate improvement.
And it lasts?
Well,
once the bacteria is there, it reproduces?
Yeah, right. So then their internal ecosystems were restored. A proper balance was restored.
Cool.
So stop and think about it. You could be like...
Cool if yucky.
Yeah. So you can be a poop donor.
I can be a poop donor.
Yeah, I know. You're a prolific pooper. But so, I mean, you can be a poop donor. So, right there on your driver's license, it'll say organ donor, poop donor. Anyway, there's a lot of people working on this, and they're going to say, they're saying that fecal transplants will be just standard practice relatively soon. But you know what that means? That means that awful things that have made people, like, I'm thinking of all those digestive, Crohn's and irritable bowel and stuff like that, which is where probably from not having the right, that maybe all you got to do is get somebody else's poop and it's bacteria up there and... And
wouldn't it really be nice to be famous for having perfect poop? I am a sought after.
Right. My stool
poop donor
is, yes, sought after more than any other in North America. But here's the other neat thing about poop donors. Listen to this. I mean, about possibility. Researchers in Amsterdam right now are running a trial to see if fecal transplants are a way to treat obesity. Because one of the things they have discovered with all these bacteria is that if you get fecal samples from skinny people who are just naturally thin, and you insert those babies into somebody who's obese, guess what? The obese people start metabolizing sugars differently and it looks like they lose weight. So there's a reason. I mean, you ever notice how some people can eat, not really gain much weight, and others put a little thing in their mouth, and we never give them that, but yeah, and they gain a lot. They're saying a big part of obesity is what you've got in your gut. And if you don't have a lot of certain kind of, like maybe these sugar processors, you're going to gain weight very, very, very easily. So, gosh, if that's part of the problem, it certainly isn't all, because a lot of obesity is from just overindulgence, but my God. So, it could be this is a way to control weight for a lot of people. Fecal transplants, ladies and gentlemen, the word for the day. Isn't that great?
Oh, the world is such a wonderful place.
Well, it's one of the few things. I don't like suppositories. I mean, but that's one of the few like pills or medicines that I would prefer in a suppository form than like taking orally.
Exactly.
Eat shit. Okay, so 10:42. That'd be the current.
And it's
time.
A benediction.
I gotta take a break. We'll be back.
Stick around for more with Lynn Cullen Live after this.
Go to bergbargains.com for great deals on tickets to the City Theater, Symphony, History Museum, and the Carnegie Museum. Check out this week's big deal featuring 50% off tickets to the Carnegie Science Center. bergbargains.com, Pittsburgh's only online deal site where the deals don't expire. bergbargains.com.
This is the sound of a flat-screen television hurled off a building. Now the new bike your kid wants. These are the things you could have, all cast into oblivion. Because when you throw away money on wasted electricity, you throw away everything you could have bought with it. Use Energy Star light bulbs and appliances, and you could save hundreds of dollars a year. Saving energy saves you money. Learn more at EnergySavers.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Energy and the Ad Council.
Get Lynn Cullen Live on your smartphone. Go to citypapermobile.com now for Pittsburgh City Paper's brand new mobile app. Get the latest restaurant reviews, event listings, movie times, and of course, Lynn Cullen Live on your smartphone. citypapermobile.com.
Have a question or an opinion? Call Lynn Cullen at 412-316-3381 or email lynn at pghcitypaper.com. Now, more with Lynn Cullen Live.
Okay, hey, we got a great email here. You there, Suze?
Yeah.
Okay. This guy begs to differ. He says Reagan was heckled and interrupted on a number of occasions by the likes of Helen Thomas and Sam Donaldson. Where were you and your sister back during those days?
We were so young.
No. He's wrong. Unprecedented, you said. No respect for the presidency because Obama's black. Lynn, he says, excuse me while I belch. Once again, you do your listeners a disservice whenever you spout the old, they're picking on me because I'm black bit. It's all so very past tense, Lynn. Surely you and your sister know that. Few people I know pick on Obama simply because he's a black man. Any criticism of the man is more to do with his associations with known socialists and subversives, his failure to release information concerning his college years, his veto on the Keystone Pipeline, his determination to stonewall Fast and Furious, and any real investigation into security leaks, his most recent end around the Constitution in regard to the children of illegal aliens, and his general determination to make this government another form of European welfare state. Man, guy, boy, buddy.
He's got every single talking point
he's missed
yawn in there.
There's the Kool-Aid drinker. Come on, he says. Sam Donaldson? I think the man is just trying to make himself relevant on the American scene again. You're the one who brought up Sam Donaldson. I didn't. No, it's not that Obama is half black. The race card doesn't apply in modern society any longer. It's a spent ticket. A large percentage of the American people are unhappy with this man, not this black man. Oh, where do we start? Okay. I was around when Reagan was president. I remember Helen Thomas, Sam Donaldson peppering him. What the emailer's forgetting is they did not do that when the president was giving a speech.
Nor did they reserve it just for Republican presidents. They did.
They did it.
I can recall, Carter getting peppered and treated with, the same way. They were simply being reporters. They weren't being political advocates.
That's right. That's during what's called a Q&A. That's during maybe a press conference, a presidential press conference. And sometimes before the presidential press conference, a president would give a speech. I assure you, neither Helen Thomas, Sam Donaldson, or anybody else ever interrupted the president's speech. They may have interrupted a president during a response to a question posed by the reporter, sir. And if you don't believe, I dare you to find one instance of Ronald Reagan, a speech being interrupted by a reporter, a speech. And as for
Or a member of Congress, for that matter.
As for the race card not applying anymore, you are out of your mind. Ask Trayvon Martin. Ask Jordan Miles here.
Oh, you don't know what happened.
Oh, no, I don't know what happened. Ask the fact that, God, jeez, it is this is why this country is so... You got a whole bunch of people here who are just brainwashed with this right-wing crapola. You talk about Obama's association.
What I find interesting about that email is, as you know, I read the comments on the iPad Daily, and he, it's like they get sent a morning memo,
right?
And then up it goes.
It's all the same. Well, no, anybody who listens to the right wing crap all the time, this is it. He's got a lot of them, doesn't have them all. His failure to release information concerning his college years. What exactly is it that? What do they think? What information
hidden? About his college years do they want to know?
Now, my understanding is he
did pretty well.
One of the better biographers around right now, David Marinus, just finished what is apparently an extraordinarily great book about Obama's first. I guess it gets him through college. I don't know that he's at Harvard yet in the book. Gets him to 1980 something. And somehow, I don't think that, he hasn't uncovered any, something that he's hiding. In fact, Obama's been more forthright about a lot of stuff than most. He was a real pothead in high school. Okay? Been forthright about it. He was a kid. He was experimenting with all kinds of things. He was trying to find himself. As for this associations with known socialists and subversives, guess what? I constantly associate with socialists and subversives. Some of my best friends are socialists and subversives. So what? I'm a proud American, and I got news for you. America is supposed to be able to encompass a very large panoply of opinion. Being a socialist is not a crime. Jesus. Right now, do you know what? Right now, as we speak, Obama is consorting with socialists in Mexico. Why don't we do something about it?
I'm telling you, it's...
Oh, dear God. Okay.
And I don't see how it changes. That's the problem.
No, because this guy ain't hearing anything we're saying. He's stuck. He would say the same about us.
And he would say the same about us.
I don't know.
I don't even understand how we get back to this point where freedoms on so many different levels are really under threat, and where the country has now armed itself to the teeth and people are shooting each other right and left, and we call ourselves safer because now we get guns.
Yeah.
I don't get how we got here in the span of, my paying attention lifetime.
Well,
because we were sure going straight off in another direction, and in the last, 50 years have taken...
Well, it's like the last 35, 40, and you can see the sort of slippery slope, and we can point at some things where, if we'd been paying attention, we thought, this is maybe dangerous. I saw a little stat in This Week magazine yesterday that said something like, I think it was 1987, 67% of Republicans agreed with this statement. the government has a responsibility to help those who cannot help themselves. Okay, so 2/3 of Republicans in 1987, which is hardly that long ago, agreed with that statement that government should help those who cannot help themselves. That number now among Republicans is, I think it was 40%. That is a huge plummet. So now close to 2/3 of Republicans do not agree with the statement that government should help people who cannot help themselves.
But I mean, if there were a corresponding rise in gifts to charities, I would say great. But really, it just reflects that we've become a nation of selfish jerks.
Agreed.
It's not about public-private. It's cast as public-private.
But it's about
me. It's really about, I don't care if those jerks don't have health care or if they're starving. I care, and I want the right to shoot them if they come to my door to beg.
That's right. You know, I just heard a quote, Michelle Malkin, this horrible right-wing person. She said that the part of Obamacare where young people 26 years of age, up to 26, can stay on their parents' health insurance, she calls that the something slacker welfare.
Uh-huh.
It's that kind of unbelievable dismissal of the reality that people live. I'm looking at somebody right here, Jess, my producer, who is now, because she turned 26, off her health insurance. I don't know anyone who works harder than Jess. She works like 20 jobs. And she still has no job that gives her health insurance. Slacker? I don't think so. And it's that sense.
No, I was noticing that what we've managed to accomplish is that there was a point somewhere, back starting in about the mid-'70s, where if you applied for a job, it was really sort of a meritocracy. You got your interview, you got your resume in, and people looked at it alongside other people's, and if you were hiring, some people got there because of who they knew, but a lot of people got there simply on merit. Now, the whole job hunting process is so, you go through the internet. Nobody will see you. You may not make an appointment. You may not show up and drop off a resume. Those would all be demerits. So we're back to the only way that you get in anywhere
is connections.
Is a connection. That's the only way that your resume gets seen, because it's lost in the hundreds of auto-generated, and that's a reflection of how many people are looking for jobs with benefits, of course. But it's also a reflection of how the Internet and some of these resources have really worked to the detriment of both the employer and the employee.
Well, the employer chooses to make it hard. The employer.
Well, they need to reassess. They're missing a lot.
Okay, I got this email in from Chris. Let's lighten up a little. Okay, we got a few minutes left. How was your lunch yesterday at the Duquesne Club? Did you do anything to embarrass yourself? Susan, the Duquesne Club is the hoity-toity, membership only, rich people only, old men's white WASP club in town. This is where this is where the captains of industry, it was pointed out to me yesterday at lunch, Bill Green, who invited me to lunch, said, in this room, he said, in this very room, this is where Westinghouse, Frick, Carnegie, all those guys sat around and essentially, ran the American economy at the turn of the century and before. I mean, Pittsburgh was the industrial epicenter, and this was their club. They founded it. So it's, of course, it looks exactly like you would think. It is so dark and carved wood everywhere, and everything is, and there's lots of very helpful people scurrying around asking if you need this, want that, blah, 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 blah. But I had a very, very nice time. I did behave. The only thing that I was disappointed about was that there really weren't many people having lunch. So there was nobody there to appall.
Which always puts a damper on things.
Yeah, it sort of did. But, because the guy who took me, Susan, is a Republican and a political analyst, and he used to be the communications secretary, I believe, for Governor Dick Thornburg. He's a definite Republican operative. I take him on all the time and have for years. And he's a nice guy, and he treated me to a wonderful lunch. I had their the dish that you're supposed to eat there, that they're famous for, are the spots, which are little fish, and they were very good. And then the end is their macaroons are to die, truly. So Bill, being so sweet, got me a bag of 12 macaroons, which I bet I'm the first person who ever left the august Duquesne Club and walked half a block and stood at the bus stop. I bet I am. I don't think anybody ever left the Duquesne Club and got on a Pat bus, except somebody who works there. But yeah, it's a pretty fancy schmancy place. They let black people, female people, and Jewish people in the last 30 years. When I first came to Pittsburgh, a woman couldn't go in there. And if you did go, for some reason, if there was an event, like you brought you had to, a reporter would have to enter through the back door. It was just unbelievable. You know what those places are like, right? So now they're not like that as much. And it was very nice. And I had a good time. And good food, too. Suze?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I ate so much that I didn't eat again. I mean, that was lunch, and all I had for dinner was an apple. I was full.
Yeah, that's what happens to me when I have a big lunch.
Whew. And 20 macaroons.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Well, I'll talk to you girls maybe this evening.
We'll be around.
You're staying home for dinner?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Okay. Thanks, Suze.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Bye. And thanks to the rest of you. I'm sorry if a lot of this was so miserably contentious. But hang on to the fecal transplant stuff, because that's a promising, wonderful development for a lot of people and for medicine in general. So that's what I'm going with. Fecal transplants. Have a great day. Potter tomorrow.
Lynn Cullen Live, Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. and archived at pghcitypaper.com. The opinions expressed on Lynn Cullen Live are those of the host and do not necessarily reflect the viewpoints of Pittsburgh City Paper, Steel City Media, and its advertisers.